strong. He catches back up to him after having to fend off the 23. He's got a great run. He's going to look underneath. The 71 does not defend. They're going to go wheel to wheel into 3 and 4. Who is going to be able to get to the line first here? Down to the inside. He's going to get pinched. They're going to come together. They're going to come together. Is Tim Downey Jr. going to get this? He runs into him. Who is going to get to the finish first? It's Massey.
That is Deterk trying to go defensive. Wanmi says, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go to the outside. You see him taking the widest line into that corner possible, just keeping momentum up around the outside, not taking no for an answer, and by sheer force of will alone, that is Wanmi Costa up into the final podium position.
Off of turn 4, Valenteus looking for the launch. He gets it right up to the wall. He's got a good lot of speed. Is this enough speed, though? As they come to the line and getting ready to cross, he goes around the outside, but it's not enough. And it is going to be Togo Hisada taking the win. Vincent has got the bit between his teeth right now. He said enough of this back and forth and allowing him through. I want the spot back, and he's going to get to the inside. Down into Sayat. Can he complete the pass? Keeping up the momentum. Caven Norris is going to remain wheel to wheel down into Vert, but it's not really a too wide turn. They're going to make it one this time, and Norris gets it back around the outside. So this is the 48 car here off of turn 4. Watch this. Really has to catch it. Just trying to, I bet he didn't lift that whole way. I think his foot was on the throttle the whole time.
Probably just a little bit too far back, trying to make that run up on Evan. Evan goes to cover the grass.
Espes blocked to the grass, side by side, 2 by 2 for the race win. Now nearly 3 wide. Hyde's taking a peek.
We've got a double here. They're going 2 wide and 2 wide. Oh, falling in. Oh no, we got contact. Cam Evan goes around. Oh, that's got to be rough. As
it's
we
not
have
over
the
yet.
local favorite going in, and Espes going for the lead, but Williams trying to get in there too. Where are we going to set up here? Coming into the final corner.
Williams trying to get the run on the left side, on the right side. Espes on the left side. A drag race. Williams takes the victory at Mount Panorama Circuit. Brandon Hawk in third, Espes in second. Last week ended in carnage. After the top 4 drivers enter the chase 2 by 2 at Bathurst, it was David Williams who pushed and shoved his way to victory lane. Now, a week later, it's a different type of battling that is set to take forth at a former World War II era training base. This is round 3 of season 6 of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge, live from iRacing's virtual Sebring International Raceway. Hello everyone and welcome to today's coverage. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth is IMSA driver Michael W. Johnson. Behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Today takes us to a track known for hosting its prestigious 12 Hours of Sebring since 1950. Last season, it was here where Elvis Little King Rankin took the checkered flag after a big crash collected most of the air leaders with about 10 minutes to go. Let's learn more about today's track with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the most grueling tests in endurance racing, this is a track which has earned a fearsome reputation among drivers. The circuit itself is located on the southeastern edge of the city of Sebring, Florida, and was built out of Hendricks Army Airfield shortly after World War II. 3 layouts are currently in use, ranging from 1.7 to 3.7 miles in length. The longest course, which is perhaps the most well-known with it being the one used for the famed endurance race, shockingly still contains portions of the original airfield surface. It's this aspect which has become a signature feature of the track, making it extremely bumpy for racing. Sunset Bend in particular nearly shakes cars apart while they attempt to navigate the high-speed 180-degree corner. As you'd expect for the side of an airfield, there's nearly no elevation change over the course of a lap, but many of the curves are dramatically tall and unforgiving, daring drivers to glance them yet not hit them directly. Thankfully, places to pass are plentiful, including spots like the Hairpin and Cunningham. However, the many fast, sweeping turns creates a dilemma for car setup, since a vehicle that's made too stiff could wind up bottoming out on the onerous bumps. In the end, if you have the wherewithal to withstand the track's rough nature, you're likely to fare well. And since Florida fans almost always show up in huge numbers to witness this test of car and driver, you'll have plenty to impress at this legendary North American road course.
That was a look at our GSRC track guide for Sebring. Now, Michael, you have a lot of racing and testing experience here at this facility. What can you tell us about racing here when it comes to today's action for the Mazda MX-5?
Well, the MX-5 is a beautiful car to have at this track because it's kind of soft as far as racing cars go. But one thing to remember is there are 17 turns you have to carry that thing through. The course is about 3.74 miles, about 6.02 kilometers, but 17 turns is absolutely grueling. You have every type of concrete and asphalt and multiple types of different eras of concrete and asphalt throughout this whole track. And it is one of the most grueling places that I've ever raced, partially because of that. And it's kind of why a lot of different teams will come out here and test their cars over the 12-hour race to make sure it can do the 24-hour race at Le Mans.
That is such an interesting fact to bring up when it comes to that, to make sure you can survive that lawn endurance type of event. But so far, when it comes to the point standings, it's worth mentioning that attrition has been huge on that mark so far. The second race of the season seen a little bit of shuffling. Pablo Espes had a strong run there with the second place finish to hold on to the points lead, with Daniel Williams shooting up to second of the points, 47 total, 6 back of Espes. Brendan Hawken, keep an eye on him, 10 points back as well entering today. However, he did just compete in the Red Bull Ring Masters in downtown Toronto. At the Red Bull Gaming studio, he just returned back home about 90 plus minutes ago. Cam Evan, after a bad incident at the end of that race, is in fourth, with Daniel Bristow, who's shown great speed in the practice races for Sebring, rounding out the top 5. And on that note, let's take a look at the race details for today, Michael, where these competitors get ready for their third race of the season.
Well, we're in round 3 out of 10. Each of these races is going to be a 40-minute race, and most importantly, it's a fixed setup. It really focuses on the driver. Now, speaking of the driver, we've got an incident cap of 40x. That means you can touch a blade of grass 40 times. You can have a car-to-car contact. Well, those are 4x each, so that's a little bit more dangerous for you. And we're awarding points from first place all the way back to 15th place.
Slice those incident limits in half, in fact, to 20. Either way, it's going to be the type of race where attrition could come into play, to say the very least. Meanwhile, drivers are in the midst of qualifying as we take a look at your qualifying details presented by SHH Shifter. SHH Shifter uses only the best commercial plastics to create the high-quality 3D printed shifters you need to give it your all on the track. Their commitment to detail and durability ensures that you receive the perfect shifter. Find them on the web at www.shiftershh.com. The times right now with a big spread amongst them with that 4-lap total. So we'll qualify 15 minutes to work with currently. Cam Evan, amongst those very active on the racetrack, second, has been very quick in the practices so far. He is currently about a 10th back of the 28 machine of Pablo Espes today.
Cam's one of those perennial drivers. He just does a good job all the time. He's quite efficient in his use of his tires. He understands how to make that car last especially given the limited fuel these drivers are going to have. I should have mentioned earlier, they're only able to use 3.9 gallons of fuel, which is going to last about 25 minutes or so. So we're going to have to factor in some pit stop routine here as well to the way these drivers get through this race.
And in turn, say you don't get the best qualifying run, start, say, edge of the top 10, around that position onward. What kind of becomes the strategy at that point to get yourself into the window for a race-winning battle? How do you see, in turn, overall, then, the strategies playing out?
Well, from the beginning, it's really tempting to want to make that dive down into turn one, get a great start. But the thing you have to remember is, while you enter the turn in this beautifully wide runway, it comes down to a taxiway that has very little space, and you're lucky to get two cars racing side by side. Three can happen, but it almost ends up in danger. So I would say, hold on, wait, let some other people kind of figure out what's going on, let it shake itself out, and then just have a very smart, thoughtful way of working your way through the pack.
Following on board, that was Kenny Brady. Now looking for the outside for him. The driver still looking for the first qualifying laps, had an invalidated first lap. The Charge Racing driver trying to get a good run here, wrecked in both the practice races, has shown decent speed so far this season, a 2:26.8. We'll see him jump up towards the top 8 for now once things cycle about here. A decent time overall there, with the pole time still 2:25.4. Here's Brandon Hawken, and here's the tough part, as mentioned with today. Double duty, essentially, from a major event throughout Friday and Saturday in the preparation for that. Completely different rig, mind you, in studio racing for that. Flew back to his hometown in Lindsay, Ontario, now competing in the Mazda MX-5. Very quick turnaround for him today.
Oh, and that's kind of a pro-level turnaround right there. I got to tell you, I've been at a few weekends where I was competing primarily in one class, but in one of the other races, one of the support races, they needed another driver in a car, and that's one way to make sure that you are definitely fit and you did not eat too much for lunch.
Exactly, and keep in mind, some of the first laps are in preparation-wise when it came to today's round was the start of the 30-minute total practice session they have. He's 4th right now in qualifying, right behind Daniel Bristow. Daniel Williams currently rounding out the top 5 at the moment, with 47 total drivers expected to take times here. Here is Williams, and it was the type of race, remember, at Bathurst where he didn't really make many friends. A lot of use of the doors and the bumpers on that Mazda last week.
Well, there's a reason they call it Spec Pinata sometimes. These cars actually do handle a pretty good bit of bumping around, at least in real life. The sim, it varies. Sometimes you can just go absolute hammer and tongs and put big dents in each other's car and not get a single X anywhere through the process. But other times you swear it was just a graze and it sends somebody off into the wall. So yeah, you got to be careful with your contact, especially in the sim.
Looking back at Cam Evan, he's pulled back onto the racetrack after electing to pull down initially before, so he decided, I didn't like how I started the first lap. I want to try and get a secondary run here with a chance to regroup. And it looks like Evan having that tough time making to the corners. And here's the tough thing too, making sure you don't get off track on that section there.
Yeah, that little spot right there is leading into this long straightaway that comes down to the hotel. And if you're not careful, you get a little bit too much curving there, trying to get down underneath the bridge here, and the hard braking to go through the hairpin, you're going to lose some time. And making time up right there, that is one of the longest straightaways to make up time on this track.
Especially with the hard braking too, that can be seen there. Could also be a spot of attrition. Buckbear we look towards now among one of the couple who've not set a time until now. In fact, it's a top 6 time coming in now. For him, a strong lap put in there. Compare that to Lee Martin, who looks to try and move up from 33rd. And something to think about too is, it's the 3rd round of the season, but with this type of a series, there are a wide range of drivers who can join these types of events for the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. A lot of new teams and new drivers in turn have decided this is going to be the race they make their debut in for the season.
And this is a good track for it because a lot of people have confidence at this track, especially in the sim. It is an insanely difficult track, but if you've got a good team and good people to work with and you feel comfortable, this is the kind of place where, because every sim racer has done thousands and thousands of laps at this track, you're going to feel like it's a good place to jump in. Real life, I think it might be a different story, but in the sim, because you do have the opportunity to run thousands of laps, assuming you have the time, it's a good place to make that jump.
Speaking of real life, it just so happens that the real life world record for Sebring for the Lucas Oil Formula Series is held by this driver. 27th in qualifying currently, driving under the Delta Sport banner. It's Frank Mossman, currently trying to bump up from a 226.5, invalidated his fourth lap, not able to do so. So there's some of that real world experience also coming in as well. Keep in mind, amongst that real world category, you can also throw Justin Taylor into that grouping, who competed in several races along with Vicente Salas as part of the Musgrave Racing Company banner last season.
Well, Jordan Bachmeyer here trying to make another run at it, but I just noticed that Daniel Bristow kind of snuck in up under Cam for second position.
Yes, indeed he did, to a 225.498 to end off his qualifying just moments ago. Question will be, will Bachmeyer be able to bump him on around? Keep in mind the temperatures for today's racing action. Around the standard we've seen throughout the season, it's worth noting, about 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 81 degrees Fahrenheit is the track temperature. That's 27 degrees Celsius for track, 25 for the air temp. That's been around the standard for much of the past few seasons for Big C's action.
Nice run across the finish line there for Jordan. Does not look like he improved on his time. And now we switch over to take a look at what Lee Martin is doing.
Lee Martin looking to bump things around and take advantage of this cooler track a little bit. Keep in mind, lights will turn on around halfway to the race. Martin currently running at the bottom part of the field. The 149, no completed fourth lap, and hour invalidated one. Better qualifying, though, for Robert Hartley, who's having his worst start to a season in Big C's competition ever. In the past seasons, he started off with a podium within the first couple races. This season, just 1 point in 2 races. He pulls off to the pit lane here.
Oh, and it's tight, too. He just has 13 thousandths to Dave Chapman in front of him. So he's still got a good chance here. He's a good, smart racer, and I think we might see him move up a bit through this race. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Justin Hilly from Ohio.
He'll be one of the final drivers, if not the last driver, to put a time in here. It'll be tight for the number 48 machine, who did not set a single lap in the practice session, keep in mind. There's a good chance he doesn't make it to the stripe, unfortunately. It looks like we'll have to see, and yes, right now, can confirm will not be able to make it to add a time to try and bump himself forward. On that note, it's time to take a look at your butt kicker starting grid. Butt kicker products are silent subwoofers that deliver powerful bass through your couch and chair, so you can feel the crashes, racing engines, and special effects in your movies and games. Butt kicker transducers are virtually indestructible and maintenance free, with thousands of units currently in service. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com. After setting a fast time early on, Pablo Espez holds on to the pole time, a 225.414 for Daniel Bristow. That separation about half, 1/10 of a second or so. Cam Evan finished in third in qualifying. He'll start row 2 alongside Felix Forsstad. Then you have Brandon Hawken and Jordan Bachmeyer in row 3. Row 4 features the defending winner from Bathurst, Daniel Williams, and Dave Chapman in his first race of the season. Robert Hartley with his best qualifying run so far in the campaign starts 9th. Anthony Burrows rounds up the top 10.
Looking at P11, we have Jared Liebert alongside Caleb Hides, followed by Kenny Brady and Rui Coimbra. Daniel Ariel Munoz and Pavel Samanik, Austin Smith, Ryan Busk, Ari Harrow, and Nicholas Short rounding out the top 20.
Take a quick glance at the rest of your starting positions. Overall, 47 drivers expected to take the green lights in just a moment. Amongst those towards the back, Shane Sullivan, But the Delta Sport paint scheme today, Casey Drake amongst his first start, Sam Smith, and several others. Also, that track record holder in Mossman is in 29th. But just a couple moments away from these drivers taking the green lights, just one last driver. It's all we are waiting for to get racing underway for the third round of the season. The question's going to be, which driver will take the checker flag today? We're about to find out. All the drivers are set. Round 3 of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge is set. Green lights are out. We're underway from Sebring.
It's a hard run down to turn 1. A lot of movement in that mid-top 10, trying to position themselves for this quick run through turn 1, down through 2 into that hard left hand of turn 3. Let's see how we come in here. Little look inside from teammates.
Oh, and some are going wide off into the traps. Robert Hartley loses several positions going 3 wide. Several more trying to go 2 wide. Hard breaking into turn 2 is massive bits of little contact in that section. No major accidents yet.
Like I was saying, these cars can take a little bit of argy-bargy, but they are not happy in the dirt. So hopefully these guys can keep it on the hard part and make a little ground up.
Drivers now being warned to be careful in their braking marks as they go through the hairpin. A big send for Daniel Williams. Some are going to the grass to send it off through the hairpin for the first time. How about 3 wide to the hairpin? That's going to be disastrous. Several have now crashed in the midst of the top 20.
It felt like they were going about 8 wide. I know that's impossible, but it just felt that way as they were trying to stack themselves up to get that positioning going into the hairpin as we work our way down to tower.
And this is also going to be a tough section for some of these drivers in this part of the racetrack. A couple drivers, depending on the braking marks, did slam into each other during the practice races. No major trouble amongst the main pack. 14 cars are now a part of the lead train after some of the attrition. That's just changed because Munoz has had a problem and has lost a full second now to Caleb Hines' car as they make their way towards the launch curve and towards the Almond Straight for the first time.
Setting yourself up, coming around this corner, using all of that outside curbing. We've got Cam and P2 looking to make a move. He used that curbing where it looks like Pablo Esparza didn't, but hey, a little bump draft. Hey, let's be friends right now. We'll see how it turns out later in the race as we've got a massive run coming up P3. Is that Daniel Bristow or is that Frederick Follestad?
That was both of them, in fact. Michael, both of them thought about it. Bristow was the one who commits to it, though. Bristow to the race lead. Still 2-3 wide behind him as Daniel Bristow gets the shove from Cam Evan. It'll be Daniel Bristow who leads the first lap of the race. It's still 3 wide for second, though. Look at this from Follestad.
Too soon. We're going 4 wide. Oh, 4 wide. Now back to 3 wide. Nice run up the inside. Turn 1, just like turn 17, there are about 5 different ways that you can go through it, and they're all correct.
Nearly to the lead there was Daniel Williams. Bristow holds on. Williams forced to the outside through turn 2. Follestad with the checkup. Of note, a penalty's just been served amongst some of the big crashes to the involving the number 7. Ethan Lampy has been given a black flag in turn, so he will have to come down to the pit lane to serve that as a result of some of the carnage mid-pack. For the race lead, though, here comes the run from Williams. What a charge to start things off from 7th starting position to the lead in a lap and a half.
Good position to be in on the inside there. It's such a slow turn, it doesn't matter too much, but getting the exit speed is important as we see Bristow trying to fight back. Or no, this may be a little bit more let's play together for now and see what happens as they come on down into Chapman.
Holding on nice and tightly for now. A bit of defensive line for Pablo Esparza, who got shuffled from the pole spot to 5th position during all of that fighting. Here's a look now from Brandon Hawken, meanwhile, who is still in 6th position after the wild start to this one. He's driving the SRC Movado Corsa machine.
Looks like it's shaking out. Everybody's trying to get comfortable in their positions, feeling out what the other drivers around them are going to do. I'm going to guess we're not going to see too many more four-wide situations, although it looks like, oh, he was making a look for it there as we come through the S's.
Some tight snaking about. Of note, Frank Mossman nearly got into some trouble in the second main pack in 22nd. They've held on for now, though. As you see now, a slowdown, a driver with a big lost amount of time. That's Anthony Burrows from 9th.
Oh, that's tough. He may have cut that corner a little bit too much or got a little bit too far outside. And even on the entry to that final corner coming down to the straight here can mess you up. Now, we see an example of 3-4 different types of lines going through here. As I said before, they're all correct. They just depend on where you are, what's going on around you, and a good run down to the start finish.
Trouble. Dave Chapman just went into the wall. Chapman scraped the left side of the car against the exit wall. And now he's losing positions from that. Robert Hartley amongst those trying to make a pass.
Well, let's see if that lack of pain on the left side helps him speed up with a little bit less weight now.
Meanwhile, Daniel Munoz, he's having a bit of an excursion amongst all this. He's the car right behind all this for 49 Motorsports. Now they're cutting through the grass. Hartley had to cut part of the curbing there for an incident point to avoid contact in that side-by-side.
Oh, it's starting to get to be a little bit argy-bargy again. I was hoping things were going to settle down for a little bit, but hey, you know, we need this to be entertaining, and they're definitely delivering some entertainment for us.
This is probably going to be a weird comparison, but based on the practice races, it almost felt like the Martinsville of road courses because the tempers were flaring both practice races. The tempers not as much flaring so far, but we've seen the potential of that with how some of these drivers have been sending it and not being willing to use the bumpers.
Yeah, using the bumpers in these cars, especially, these cars are practically designed for it. Having raced the TCA version of this car, I'm very aware of exactly how resilient these bumpers can be. And you want your teammates or friends or whomever is trying to help you out to be using those bumpers to help both of you along.
At the same time, you don't want to get bump and ran out of the way at a road course, you'd have to feel.
Yeah, well, they bump you a little bit too hard and you get out on the grass, or you end up maybe like Justin Hilly. He looks like he got a black flag. I don't know what happened there. Maybe we'll get a replay of what happened on that.
It would have been with Aquino, for reference, who is now out of the race currently with the toe. That was just moments ago. Hilly had been in 24th position in the second pack. Lead pack, meanwhile, Caleb Hides leapfrogging around Jarrett Liebert. Liebert known more so for his setup building ability. With Dead Zone Racing, one of the technical alliances for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series drivers. Kenny Brady also leapfrogging in front as well. Buckmeyer trying to get to the left side, nearly to the grass. He keeps it side by side.
Ooh, that's tough there too, because if you're like me, you're used to the real life track, that grass is not there. It is paved in real life. So getting out there in this sim is going to be dangerous.
And Bachmeyer holding on. They're not giving up easily, though. Now Brady gives a shove. Brady over the radio a moment ago, Michael, had just said we're going to lose the draft, and now he's trying to bump him out of the way here.
Yeah, that's one way to go about it if you want to get back up there, if you feel like you're being slowed down too much. I personally like to work together, but let's see what happens here. If he can get around him and start to open up a gap and catch up to the pack in front of him that may be fighting, as we see, a little bit of defensive line here, going a little wide on there, staying inside as we go into the hairpin.
Robert Hartley also taking a peek, didn't get side by side though, as some different lines again through the hairpin, heading to Fangio chicane once more. Absolutely crazy start. It's been only about 9 minutes on the clock, coming up in just a few seconds, but it's felt like it's been the final 5 minutes from the drop of the green flag was how some of these drivers have been racing today.
This league is well known. Oh, and we have a spin. We have a spin.
It's Hides. Hides is off into the grass. The 92 from 9th position. Hides struggling to get up to speed. He falls all the way out towards the second pack. Bad luck for Hides, who is expected to be one of the quick drivers to battle for that main pack throughout the day today. Instead, he gets some help. Got
a little bit of help coming around there. He was a little bit off the apex on that one, and Looks like the trailing driver just got a little touch up behind him as we come back to
trouble
Bristow here.
Big trouble. An air car just hit the wall. It's Robert Hartley. Robert Hartley's just had to tow because after all of that, Jared Lieber had to let several cars go. Robert Hartley then got significant damage throughout all of that from slamming into a car behind in the checkup effect. Then he had all this happen.
Oh, at least that's virtual. I'd hate to have that happen in real life because, man, you'd be dizzy trying to get out of the car.
You had to go right all the way back to that main contact that just happened with Lieber to the back end of Hydes because that's where the front bumper damage came in and then everything went and fell apart. I think the motor may have popped.
It could be. I didn't see any smoke from it, but sometimes these motors on these cars just go and in the sim world and you just don't see any smoke or anything from them.
A wild moment there. A wild moment, let's put it that way. Daniel Williams, meanwhile, continues to lead after his charge. Earlier, one car misses the corner. Daniel Bristow nearly missed the apex.
Bristow going a little bit wide there. I think Williams is trying to open up this gap here. He's tired of playing the games. He's going to try to get out there all by himself and make hay while the sun shines, or before the sun goes down, as it were.
Here's a look at the viewpoint for Walter, as he's also known for the NASCAR community. Anthony Burrows currently back to 11th after a slowdown. Here's the downside. Samanek and Smith, who he's running with, are more than a second and a half back of the leaders.
Looks like he's trying to tuck up under that wind, that rear bumper. Give him a little bit of a push. Let's get down this straightaway. He'll back off right before we get to Chapman, and then let's see what happens. They try to make their way through this corner.
Bit of a wider movement once more for Samanek. Still holds on in the Carbon Sim Sport car up towards the front. Words being exchanged in terms of some of the positioning here with some of these drivers. Daniel Bristow has had some very tough times with some of the drivers behind to where there's now starting to try and bump draft him heading through the third sector.
Looks like Bristow was caught back up to Williams as Williams was trying to make a little bit of a gap, but it's tightening down. We're only at about a half a second that he's got out in front there, and that is not enough. That is well close enough to be in a really good draft as we come down that back straight.
Still a decent separation, about 4/10 now, middle of the straightaway, but that speed started to come up for Bristow. Fullstad looking like he's going for the fuel save strategy. Cam Evan is not. Evan wanting to make the move.
Trying to push up the inside there, bringing into P3. How is this? Oh, he's taking a little bit different line than these other guys going through the corner and making up ground as well as defending Fullstad behind him. Trying to get back over to the right side. Let's see as they come into turn one. We've got Williams opening up again, about 0.2 of a second as they drop in. Cam taking a look up the inside, getting really close to the bumper of Bristow.
Adam knows two different styles forming up here. Fullstad, as mentioned, lifted off midway down the Ulman Straight. Cam Evans said, I want to go for the full set. It seems like there's the different clashes there where some want to try and stretch it, some want to try and get as far as they can track position-wise.
Yeah, when you have these pit stops in here where you've got to refuel, how much time do you want to spend stationary? As little as possible is the big answer. So if you can push to a later time, that's probably... Oh, wait a minute. What do we got going on? We've got some too wide action going into the hairpin as we come through. Pushes outside, lots of grass. And looks like they shook it out without any major damage this time.
Back single file now. Heading towards Cunningham corner. The top 9 have now broken away by 4 seconds, by the way. Anthony Burrows is now the lead car of the second pack. Nicholas Short leads the third pack. Mossman leads pack 4. Sam Smith leads pack 5 and 21st. Everyone else is fairly spread apart on the racetrack. It's a bit more shuffling you see now towards the back end of that top 10 grouping once more. Hawken trying to find a way to charge ahead. And remember, when it comes to some of these drivers, they can be a bit calculated, like Hawken. For Evan, he's shown he wants to be one of the drivers who dominates a race and controls the point.
If you remember the end of the race last week when we were watching them come through the chase at Mount Panorama, you could see Cam's hungry. Cam wants to get up there and make his presence known and be on the podium. So I'm not seeing any change in his driving style here. He's got that same goal. Of course, we all want to win. We all want to be on the podium, but you got to get there first.
He's finished top 5 in the points a few times at the end of seasons, but he's never been in victory lane. He's been close both rounds so far, but hasn't been able to get the job done completely. Now coming up to 25 minutes to go, estimated 11 laps to go. And now there's more trouble for the 007. Daniel Munoz has had to put his car in the tow truck. He had a mistake going through Sunset Bend, where he ended up getting some help from Justin Taylor.
Oh, that's rough, because Sunset is one of those corners, like I was saying before, there are a bunch of ways to go through there, 5, 6, 7 different ways you can go through that corner. And if your opponent doesn't understand that you've taken a different line, bad things can happen.
That was at the tail end of the points paying positions. That's now Steven Van Opstal as a result, who's in 15th position. Here's the quick look at what we're referring to, and watch on the entry.
So watching as they come in here, he's trying to get set up, a little touch of the brake as we go into the corner, try to bleed a little speed off, going a little bit wide, and just barely clips the tail end. It looks worse at the wall than it was at the point where they actually made contact.
Now you see right there, that bit of mistake opens up the door shuts, door gets broken apart.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's not unusual in that corner because of the so many different options of attack on it. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of action like that in Sunset Bend.
An intriguing situation there. And hearing, by the way, in regards to the Lampy situation, remember he was involved in an incident. Apparently he had a wheel disconnect and then a power outage affect his incident that collected much of the top 20 earlier on in this race. Tough break for him in what has been a disastrous start for the 95 as a couple drivers hit a bit of curb. A lot of bobbling for that group.
Ooh, Brandon Hawken trying to get back up towards the front. He had qualified quite well, started in 5th. He's currently running 6th, trying to get around Frederick Falstad to get back to a position where he feels more comfortable to rerun to the end of this race. And here we go through Sunset once again. Notice again, different lines. Everybody's got a different way of trying to move through here. We got practically a 3-wide situation, including a little lawn maintenance going on.
Everybody mowing the grass. Maybe they're trying to find the pavement. I don't know. That's not how pavement works, of course, but they're still battling hard for second. Bristow defends well. There is another car coming out of the pit lane, too, who had just finished some damage repair, and Jarrett Liebert, who's laying by everybody.
Yeah, Brandon Hawkins trying to bring up 2 wide here, going into turn 3. Can he eke it out? Oh, he's just holding on, trying to hold on to the inside here as he pushes through, keeps going as we head down the straightaway to the hairpin. Looks like he's got the move made.
It's not over yet, though, for some of the other drivers. Fullestad still hugging that right side. Kenny Brady on the left. Bachmeier now coming in for the push. Approaching 9 estimated laps to go. Big send from the 33. Fullestad hugs the curbing for the hairpin. Brady nearly hugs the back bumper. Still side by side, battling hard for 5th.
Great heads-up racing from Brandon Hawken there. He saw Fullestad coming back at him to try to take that position back. As we're going 2 wide as we get down to Chapman here. Oh, how's it going to come out? Oh, it looks like Hawkins being a little bit early on the brakes. A lot earlier than some of these guys want to be. Not a bad idea. You're going to use a little bit less fuel, try to lift and coast a little bit. He may be trying to save some fuel and go a little bit long before his pit stop.
These drivers settle down for a touch bit. Can report a couple things. There was a half spin that seen Anthony Burroughs lose his pack several seconds. Frank Mossman was also just slammed hard into the hairpin and wrecked by Steven Van Opstal. Opstal has been given an immediate penalty as a result of that one as well. So lots of drama in pack 2 and pack 3 currently. affecting some of the drivers. Here's a look at the GSRC replay. This is what happened to Mossman.
Looks like he's trying to go a little bit deep into the brakes, trying to come into this corner. Oh, and just up the inside. Oh, that could have been a condition of late braking. I think if you go back to a Formula One race recently, maybe a week ago, you would have seen something similar. But a different result on that one.
Here's an arrow look. And the text chat is simple. Ban myself rest of season. He does not like what he just did.
Yeah, it's good to be self-aware and know that you really messed up. That's not the word he used in the text chat, but you can guess what it was. Let's get back to racing here and see what we've got here going on up at the front of this pack.
Pit stops is what we have for one. Lots of them. Evan, Bristow, Brady, several more, all electing to come in. One major mistake, though, from Daniel Bristow. He's been one of the quickest drivers all day here at Sebring in preparation. He overran his stall by a couple seconds. This could cost him some valuable time in the pack.
And an interesting point to note here, last race nobody took tires. This race, everybody looks like they're trying to take some tires, at least on one side, if not both.
Bristow somehow was trying to take tires while wedged up against the wall and all of that. Meanwhile, Daniel Williams, Pablo Espez, Brandon Hawken have kept on going, as well as Bachmeier and Follestad. Trouble is, though, for Bachmeier and Follestad, they lost a lot of time with everybody else around them in their pack, to the point where it's now a 3-car breakaway temporarily.
Yeah, we'll see how this shakes out after the full rotation of pit stops. But we've got Williams followed by Espez and Brandon Hawken, happy to find himself up into third place. Although Espez is trying to give a little nudge here and there to Williams to maybe pull themselves away from those two behind them.
Remember, the estimated furthest point they can go is about 25 minutes. That would be another lap at the most. They can stretch it past this one. So we'll see which ones elect to dive on down. Remember, Williams has been the lead car for just about a majority of this race before calamity started to ensue right before the pit stop window. Hard curbing once more taken as Williams tries to arc it on in for the Goldman Strike.
Espez trying to stick in that draft, as well as Hawken trying to just hold on to that gap. He's got about 4/10, which is enough to the car in front of him to where he can stay in there. And look at, oh, we've got Espez trying to go up the inside. These guys should be thinking about pit stops right now. This is a bold move. Is he trying to make this pass and then go for an extra run? Or is he trying to get into the pit lane before Williams does?
Williams is trying to come in before him now instead. So Espez continues. Williams does come in with Brandon Hawken. Espez is now on his own. The rest of the top 5 elected to pit this time by. Let's take a look now at that net grouping. Bristow, despite his mistake, I think because of that, may have took less fuel because he had a 3-second quicker stop despite his mistake.
Taking that short stop it's a lot easier to make up time in the pits than it is on the track. You're going to be lucky, especially with this group, to get a 10th per lap. If you can get a couple of seconds just because you had a better fuel fill or a smarter calculated fuel fill, you're using less fuel, that is one way to make up a lot of time.
Here we go, though. The rest of the drivers are coming out of the pit lane. Bristow's getting the hard shove, heading into turn 1. Drivers are darting out. Follestad has jumped them. Follestad, along with Brandon Hawken, have jumped the top cars. Williams has lost the net lead after the cycle.
Looks like the net lead, if I'm looking at it correctly, goes with Frederick Follestad right now, with Brandon Hawken following right behind him. Ooh, this is going to get interesting. Brandon should be trying to work with Bristow again, see if they can catch up to Follestad.
And remember, Espez is still chugging along, too. Keep in mind those times right now.
Yeah, so this little grouping with Hawken, Bristow, Evan, and Williams, I get the feeling they're going to be frenemies for a moment here as they try to catch up to Follestad.
Brandon Hawken, big mistake coming out of the hairpin, losing time. You see the shuffling ahead of Williams. Bristow leapfrogs Hawken. Evan looking to follow suit. Williams not close enough to take advantage as they nearly scrape bumper to bumper. Side by side heading into Cunningham.
Oh, bold move to get down inside there. Good passing opportunity, But are they going to push each other out and lose the momentum they have trying to catch up to Follestad?
I have to see. Approaching 15 minutes to go on the clock with about 7 estimated laps to go. Williams goes wide, and yes, you're seeing that right. Those are some other drivers who have not pit yet, who are right on behind them as well. Keep that in mind. Bachmeier, Brady, and Chapman lost 6 seconds after all the cycling. Now it's side by side nearly for second net.
Oh, this is getting to be tight as he tries to make a little bit of a late braking move, getting up in there. Let's see where we come out. Oh, nice use of the curving out there on the outside. Now we've got the run down to Sunset. Oh, I'm going to see, we got a little bit of jockeying going on here. Who's this coming out? Is that Cam Eben?
Yes, indeed. He is coming to push him. Eben giving the shove to Bristow. Bristow gets clear. Follestad gets passed as well by Eben. Hawken now goes for the dive. Big bobble from the 33 in reaction to that. Williams now tries to join the party. Follestad goes from the net lead back to net 4 as he nearly squeezes Williams into the wall. Of note, Aspis is still continuing to go along. He's made it more than 10 laps now, as now Follestad gets dived underneath 3 wide.
Oh, he licked that stamp and sent that one. That was a good move into turn 1 as he takes position from Follestad.
That Radicals machine really tried hard to hold on. Caleb Hyde's now the new quickest lap of the race, by the way, from Pack 3, with Semanek and Burrows in that grouping. They continue to shuffle belt, and the question's going to be, how will this work out for Espes? Because those who were up to speed were a second slower than Espes, who has got nobody around him.
And Espes still yet to pit. He's on 11 laps and has yet to hit the pit lane. He's got to be sipping fuel somehow.
This will be one of the longest stints of the season we've seen so far, if not in the past while. This is a masterful fuel-saving job. The only other driver who has not pit that is in the entire field is James Clark. Here's the look back at that net main pack currently. Follestad currently the back end of that train.
Follestad trying to get some positions back. He enjoyed being in the lead for a little while, but now with Williams in front of him, well, he doesn't like the view quite as much. If you're not the lead dog, that view never changes.
You never know what's going to happen, though. Remember, as talked about, 10 minutes to go last year. Vicente Salas got dived underneath 3 wide for the race lead and ended up getting turned in front of the entire lead pack. The winner ended up being Elvis Rankin by 1.5 seconds after that. Espes is now into the pit lane, and now it's the question of how much time did he save himself in the pit lane. The shortest pit stop in the main pack is Follestad with a 16-second stop.
It should be noted, James Clark is still out there. Looks like I'm showing him P2, but this would put him in net P1, up 42 places, but he has yet to pit. So he's the guy who was out there the longest. So kudos to Pablo for fuel saving, but he might need to take some James C. Clark lessons.
Trouble with the wall. Couple drivers just scraped the wall. Cam Eben with a bad run off the corner. More contact, making it 3 wide. Brendan Hawken to the head of the group. Espes has already completed his stop. Espes has a huge advantage as a result of everyone else having a wrestling match.
Looks like we're going 3 wide into turn 1 as Williams tries to pull out just a little bit, get up close inside to that wall as we push down through turn 2, up into the braking zone for turn 3. Oh, 2 wide as we get in here. Tuck up under behind, right in behind Cam Eben, trying to make the run down as we head towards the bridge on down to the hotel.
The thing is, Michael, Espes is 4 seconds ahead. That is not just pit stop time, mind you. He had actually a longer stop than Follestad. That was all just being on his own while everyone else battled around with each other after the stop.
Yeah, Espes had a great idea to stay out there as long as he did. Got out of that little melee that was going on. They were too busy fighting each other and lost time. Espes, 16.2 seconds in the box. That's not a lot of time to be standing still. And one of the best times, if I scroll through here and take a look, that's a great standstill time. So he did it right, getting out of that melee.
Bumping and banging meanwhile, Follestad has just hit the back of Bristol's car.
Ooh, that's not going to make for friendship right there. Let's see what they're going to do as they come up here. Coming into, are we in Chapman right now? I think that's Chapman. Heading our way down towards the tower turn.
This, in fact, right here is the Flying Fortress straight heading off to Bishop Bend. As they make their way on forward. Brandon Hawken, though, he is closing fast. Hawken closed up a second this lap.
Hawken, he's looking at Espez up there going, hey, I need to come race with you. You're the one who's not trying to bump people around. You're trying to stay out of this. Let me come up there. He's got about a 3.5 second gap to him. Ooh, it's going to be an interesting run with Cam Evans sitting about 0.8 off of his tail.
Will Williams work with him? No, Evan will block him all the way to the right side. Williams gives him a bump trap behind. Hawken runs away from this. Williams shoves Evan out of the way. Now here comes Bristow to follow on behind. 5 estimated laps to go, 10 minutes on the clock.
Oh, and here we come back down to turn 1. How many wide are we going to go this time? We've had as many as 4 or 5, I think, earlier. But look like holding a straight line. Everybody's going to be rank and file as we flow through here. I think they're starting to get wise to their own antics and think it may be time to go try to catch Espez, who is still way out front. 3.2 seconds between Hawken and Espez.
And right before that corner, keep in mind, Hawken had pulled away by a full second before everyone started picking up time again in the braking zone. Bristow clipping a bit of the grass as well there. They try and regroup to catch back up to the race leader. Will they be able to get there is the question. They are running quick when they are working together like this. When they're darting out like that, not so much.
Yeah, this is a time to play together, but I think everybody's thinking about that 3rd place on the podium. Williams, Bristow, Evan, even Follestad, all in that same little grouping right there, thinking, hey, I want to have that final step on the podium. It's my turn to get up there. We're just going to battle. They may have given up on trying to catch Espez, who is over 3 seconds out from Hawken at this point.
They would have to, on average, at the rate they're going, catch up about a second a lap to have a realistic chance to make a move on Pablo Espez. Here's the look from Evan from 5th position, meanwhile. You see a lot of wheel having to be put into that car, and the interestingness when it comes to some of the lines has been how tight. You noticed Evan was trying to take a lot of that curbing during the racing action and the preparations for today.
Yeah, Evan was going a little bit early on some turn-ins during the practice session, and I was wondering why he was doing that. He may have been trying to figure out what it was going to be like late in the race as he gets a little wide. Oh, Cam Evan trying to change to groundskeeper here at Sebring.
So was Bristow there, in fact. In fact, Bristow had the worser of the run, it looked like. He goes back in a line. Evan electing to just lift off and wait before making a chance there. Brandon Hawken has now trimmed the gap, meanwhile, to Espez to 2.7 seconds, around 2.8, heading out of Sunset Bend. Approaching 7 minutes to go. They can see him, but the question is, can they draft up to him?
Yeah, that's a bit too far to try to catch a draft. You can get it 1.5 seconds, maybe. You'll get a little bit, but he's got about another second to catch up before he starts, Hawken, that is, before he starts feeling the effect of any draft.
And meanwhile, it's madness now once more because Bristow now went into the grass. Evan jumps by him. Evan back up to 4th position with that mistake. Follestad continues to watch with the popcorn seat as the caboose here. More curving for Bristow. Bristow looks like he's falling apart.
Yeah, Bristow doing what he can to stay on the track. Follestad trying to do what he can to not let him stay on the track and get up into that 5th position.
Follestad again taking a slight peep, but not close enough to send it. Keep in mind that Austin J. Smith has had a very quiet start to the season, is currently in the final points-paying position, leading his own train, for reference sake. Palsamatic, Anthony Burrows, Caleb Hides have a train 10th through 12th. Bachmeyer, Brady, and Chapman have had a train 7th through 9th. Here's the look at that battle for 15th, and you can see they're working together. Compare that to up front. There's more cooperation for the last point than there is for the podium spots right now for some.
Yeah, one thing to remember when you're watching guys come down into these heavy braking zones, you'll see them pop out just to get a little bit of wind resistance. And if you're in a downforce car, not that these are, you're going to have a little bit more of an effect of slowing the car down. You don't want to get too fast and try to overrun your brakes. As we watch Hawken and Williams try to do a little bit of nose to tail, are they going to try to work together to catch up to Espes, or are they just trying to get away from Cam Eben?
That was a great sector for both of them, though. They picked up 2-3 tenths alone, and now they have a car to track off of. Remember that error machine you were talking about trying to stretch it, James Clark? He's been struggling on speed down the straightaway since the drop of the green flag. He might be able to use this as a slingshot to close up to Espes a bit more here.
Just trying to get as close and at sunset as he can, trying to get right up underneath the curve, get on the power right before the bridge, push the car out as much as you can without hitting the grass. Oh, speak of not hitting the grass, that was Fullestad in the grass a little bit right there.
Going a little bit more wider, but they're coming up now to a couple estimated laps to go. 5 minutes on the clock. It will be close on how many laps we get from this point. Espes now is only 1.2 seconds ahead. But James Clark has the lap traffic. Everyone has to negotiate, though. Clark nearly sends it off the track to move out of the way. He parks it to left by the lead group, and now the leaders are in the draft.
Yeah, down to 1 second now, just under a second. Brandon Hawken making his run. Now, is this Pablo Espes trying to save a little fuel because he's short-fueled and tried to get out quick? Remember, he had that very quick pit stop where he was in the box stationary for only 16.2 seconds.
That's a good point, and heard it right there. He's using the clutch here. He might be concerned on fuel. That may be why, in part, they gained so much, remember. 2:27 last time by. That is a significant amount of time. Espes has a problem.
We were 3 seconds out, 4 seconds out. Now it's under a tenth. As
here we go.
Gets underneath it. No, he's in the lead, pulls it out. Pulls out the lead as the entire pack comes through. Looks like Williams trying to make a run. Also trying to set him up on the outside here. No, can't quite hold on to it. Espes has decided to get back into that.
Espes again clutching into the corner. Brandon Hawken now in the race lead for the first time today. Daniel Williams is up to third. What will Williams decide to do? 3:30 to go now on the clock. Expecting the white flag in the next few moments, if not the next time by. Espes now looking like he's pushing a little bit harder now that he's got someone to draft off of now after saving so hard for several laps.
Cam Eben taking a lot of curving, trying to set up for a run down the back straight here as we head towards sunset. Oh, a little bit of grass work there for Daniel Williams. I think we might see something from Cam. Cam's trying to take a look, trying to just peek out, maybe just let his presence known.
Espes is lifting off the gas, and Daniel Williams zips on by. Move Williams up to second. Nearly to the back bumper of the 99. Cam Eben also leapfrogging. Espes really struggling now with the fuel mileage. And it looks like we may get another lap here. Yes, indeed. Finding the flagman's not waving the flag. 2:38 on the clock of the stripe.
Yeah, Espes trying to make it look like he's doing an over-under there, but notice he's doing a little bit of a lift and coast, getting that clutch in, trying to save some fuel. He short-fueled himself a little bit on that quick stop.
And the differences between him and Fullestad, remember, Fullestad put a quicker pit stop time in. Fullestad's been able to save with the draft this whole time. Espes has not. And that's the major difference in part there.
Yeah, for sure. Having that group to work with, you do have opportunities that you just need to lift instead of staying in it all the way down the straight. Because when you get into that grouping, oh, we got a little peak going on here. What are we going to have happen? Oh, Williams taking that look out to the outside as Hawken goes to cover. Going through the corner, trying to come out. Got a little argy-bargy, nose to tail. How are we going to come down this straight? Looking through. Oh, this is going to be tight. This is going to be an outstanding finish. I don't know where to call this. Any of these guys could take it. As Williams takes a look out towards the left side, looks like a little bit of cover as we go into the corner.
Shades of Mount Panorama starting to come up here. Minute 24 now on the clock. Williams again, a slight bobble now. Evan trying to go later on the brakes. Cespedes going hard again. Bristow closes up as well. Here's the look from Evan. Approaching 1 minute to go on the clock. It's down to 6 drivers to see who can win the 3rd round of the season.
Oh, with Brandon Hawken trying to stave off, trying to get that just perfect position, braking as late and as efficiently as he can. Hold that speed through the corner, coming around. Oh, here we go. Get in here, right over this curving. Just a little touch of the curving. Use that exit curving as well as you can. Looks like everybody's getting a good run here. Oh, this is going to get pretty hairy when we get down to Sunset Bend.
Cespedes is going for a charge. So is Williams. Williams to the bottom. Hawken to the middle. Hawken sweeps back left. Williams hard on the brake. Williams to the race lead. Cespedes back up to 3rd. Expecting the white flag here as Hawken goes for the switchback. Down the front straightaway.
Oh, trying the over-under, doesn't quite get enough momentum through it. That was a good defense from Williams to keep that from working, but it looks like Cespedes coming back around the outside, or inside at this point. Coming into turn 1, we got a little bit of argy-bargy as we go 2 by 2. You're right, this is exactly like it was last week.
Daniel Bristow with a problem had to pit. White flag is out. Final lap from Sebring. Hawken takes a peek through turn 2. Thinks against it. Williams defends once more. Cespedes trying to charge again. It's now down to 5 cars to decide how this plays out. Getting dark as Hawken now goes to the dirt once again.
Ooh, that dirt's not going to help him as we got Cespedes, who has been saving fuel. Does he have enough to finish this lap going all out? Taking a look down the inside as he gets covered up. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin.
3 wide. Hawken makes it stick on the right side. Better run for Williams on the left. Cespedes chooses the left as well. Hawken now stuck side by side as Cespedes goes for a 3 wide move. Heading towards Cunningham. Cespedes buoys his way back up to the point. Williams with the preferred line. Hawken makes it 3 wide again. Hawken and Williams late break. Side by side still.
Oh, nice late braking move, both from Hawken and Williams. Cespedes trying to make his point, trying to get back through there. He's got one more chance. Well, 2 more chances, I think, if we can get going into that final corner or all the way up to 17. Oh, this is going to be a tight finish. I have no idea what's going to happen here, but these guys are definitely keeping it exciting.
Full status ran out of fuel. It's down to 4 cars now. Does Cespedes have enough to try and make a move? He'll try one regardless. Thought about the peak, back single file. Now coming up to the longest straightaway left at the Ullman Straight. Who will be able to make the send through Sunset Bend is the question.
Cespedes making a good run using all of that curving that he can. We got to cover. Oh, got him covered. Trying to make this run. Are they going to make it 3 wide going into Sunset Bend? Cespedes with a beautiful run, and it looks like a repeat of Chapman Corner.
3 wide, a big squeeze from Williams. Williams gives the shred back to Hawken. Hawken with the better exit. Here comes Cespedes. Cespedes gets turned. Captain Evans spins. Hawken tries to defend. Checkered flag waves. It's Brandon Hawken who wins at Sebring.
And even after that spin, it looks like Cespedes just makes it to the finish to bring up the last step of the podium.
Cam Evan finishes all the way back in 6th, but man, oh man, what a dramatic finish again. Hawken holds on 3 wide, approaching the final corner to decide it.
Little argy-bargy coming in here. Everybody trying to jockey for position. You watch here as Williams tries to hold on to that right side. He's trying to protect that pass up underneath. And then, there's more underneath for me here. I'm going to go up in here, says Hawken.
And then it gets dramatic here. Look at that block from Williams, and then Hawken says, you know what, I'm just going to go for the better cut.
Oh, just there, right there is Cam Evan. Just takes off that little bit of paint on that right rear corner. Feel for both of them. Cespedes had a beautiful run. I could see what he was doing. I could tell that he was looking to try to make that giant over-under as he set up way far out there and tried to get a slingshot coming through on the inside.
An absolute wild finish. Of note, Daniel Bristow ended up finishing the last points-paying driver despite having to coming towards the final laps of this race. Due to not being able to make it on fuel, the other driver ran out on the last lap, had to tow. Folestad ended up finishing 23rd. A wild end to the third round of the season. Post-race coverage coming up in just a moment. You're watching GSRC live from Sebring.
Leads, but Carr is strong. He catches back up to him after having to fend off the 23. He's got a great run. He's going to look underneath. The 71 does not defend. They're going to go wheel to wheel into 3 and 4. Who is going to be able to get to the line first here? Down to the inside. He's going to get pinched. They're going to come together. They're going to come together. Is Tim Downey Jr. going to get this? He runs into him. Who is going to get to the finish first? It's Massey.
That is Deterk trying to go defensive. Wanmi says, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go to the outside. You see him taking the widest line into that corner possible, just keeping momentum up around the outside, not taking no for an answer, and by sheer force of will alone, that is Wanmi Costa up into the final podium position.
Off of turn 4, Valenteus looking for the launch. He gets it right up to the wall. He's got a good lot of speed. Is this enough speed, though? As they come to the line and getting ready to cross, he goes around the outside, but it's not enough. And it is going to be Togo Hisada taking the win. Vincent has got the bit between his teeth right now. He said enough of this back and forth and allowing him through. I want the spot back, and he's going to get to the inside. Down into Sayat. Can he complete the pass? Keeping up the momentum. Caven Norris is going to remain wheel to wheel down into Vert, but it's not really a too wide turn. They're going to make it one this time, and Norris gets it back around the outside. So this is the 48 car here off of turn 4. Watch this. Really has to catch it. Just trying to, I bet he didn't lift that whole way. I think his foot was on the throttle the whole time.
Probably just a little bit too far back, trying to make that run up on Evan. Evan goes to cover the grass.
Espes blocked to the grass, side by side, 2 by 2 for the race win. Now nearly 3 wide. Hyde's taking a peek.
We've got a double here. They're going 2 wide and 2 wide. Oh, falling in. Oh no, we got contact. Cam Evan goes around. Oh, that's got to be rough. As
it's
we
not
have
over
the
yet.
local favorite going in, and Espes going for the lead, but Williams trying to get in there too. Where are we going to set up here? Coming into the final corner.
Williams trying to get the run on the left side, on the right side. Espes on the left side. A drag race. Williams takes the victory at Mount Panorama Circuit. Brandon Hawk in third, Espes in second. Welcome back to Sebring for more coverage of the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. And this finish may fit amongst that highlight reel you've seen during the break, because boy oh boy did it end in a wild fashion again here. Brandon Hawken holds on to the victory just a couple hours after coming off an airplane to win over Daniel Williams. Pablo Espes got spun and still finished in third, with Jordan Bachmeier finishing in fourth. Dave Chapman passed on by Cam Evan for fifth. Evan, after that contact in the final corner, another rough end in the final couple of corners for him. Caleb Hydes, Kenny Brady, Palisamatic, and Nicholas Short rounded out the top 10, Michael.
In P11, we've got Anthony Burrows, followed by Dylan Denhays. Thomas Schmidt, Rui Coimbra brings in respectable P14, which is where he started. Daniel Bristow, though, started in P2, ended up in 15th with what looked like a fuel short problem, followed by Austin Smith, Cameron Martineau, Ryan Busk, Yari Lumayoki, and Austin Czar.
Then it's Ryan Pandicio who finished in 21st for Summit Racing. Otis Adams Jr. with a quiet race in 22nd. Folestad, after running out of fuel on the final lap, halfway to go to make it to the checkered flag, had to tow, finished 23rd. Then it's Justin Taylor who finished 24th. Spunks Prem finished in 25th. After a big crash, it was Daniel Munoz who finished 26th. Lee Martin, 27th. Kadzia in 28th. Harvey Harlow with a very quiet run, 29th. And Jose Gonzalez, who was involved in some of the early trouble, 30th.
Bringing up 31st, we've got Carter Hampton, followed by the ultimate fuel sipper, James C. Clark, who actually led the race for a while due to his very good use of the fuel. Paulo Miranda following him with Jarrett Liebert, Sam Smith, Frank Mossman, Martin Sampson, Pedro Berger, Stephen Van Opstel, and Casey Drake finishing out the top 40, 11 laps down.
41st, it was Justin Tilley who finished in that spot, 13 laps down, along with Shane Sullivan. With Christian Lindroff 43rd, the season of nightmares continues for the multiple-time champion Robert Hartley. It's his worst run yet, 44th, after an early crash. Robert Mason 45th, Quaino finishing 46th, and it's Kato who finishes 47th. The last of the drivers was Ethan Lampe, who had a disastrous day, which included missing qualifying and practice, having an incident, then having his steering wheel and power go out. But one driver who's had a very busy past few days caps off the weekend with a victory. It's Brandon Hawken from the airplane for the Red Bull Ring Masters to victory lane in the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. How are you feeling about this one after what was an insane finish for back-to-back weeks in the series?
Wait, Justin, man, that was crazy. Yeah, just got off the plane, hopped the train, got home with about 45 minutes before the race session, and I didn't know what to expect going in because everything's so much different. The equipment we were using, and we just we had to adapt to that, and then going back to our home setups, I wasn't sure what to expect with that, but it didn't take too long. Just got used to everything again, and man, that was a battle. That was an incredible battle from everybody there, especially in the last few laps. I don't even know like what was going on. It was kind of just a blur. Like everybody was going everywhere. Moves were being made. It seemed like every corner. Man, that was crazy. Just like the just great race to everybody. Because man, we were door banging. We were like nose to tail, going like kind of like. Yeah, rubbing fenders, It was, I don't know what to say, man. That was just incredible racing all around.
Absolutely an incredible battle, an incredible race, to say the very least, on how things have played out when it comes to this. And keep in mind, how would you describe the start to this respective race to get yourself into this positioning?
Yeah, I started I think it was fifth, so that was a pretty good position. I got shuffled back a little bit, and so I wanted to make my way further to the front, definitely for sure, just to like try to be ahead after the end of pit stops. I had a really good pit stop. I think I took just enough fuel, and I was able to get pull out in the almost tentative lead, and then I made a little bit of mistake on the cold tires going into the hairpin, so I lost a couple again. And then, with the MX-5s, like if something happens, you can make your way back up. So, just had a lot of work with the draft, and like a lot of situations where like people were battling, and we were able to take advantage of those. And that was just an overall crazy race, and there was just a ton of fun.
And you mentioned it a little bit with the craziness of the weekend. How would you describe all that with that event, if you don't mind me asking, for those who do not know about how much work went into those finals in Toronto?
Yeah, man, that was a lot of effort from everybody involved, like Red Bull, Apex V2R, everybody. That was. We were in kind of like a studio, and they had 8 rigs set up, top 8 from Canada, in the 911 GT3 car. We're invited, and man, that was such a like cool experience of meeting everybody, and getting to put the face to the name, and we just had a lot of really good times, like talking to each other, and just like kind of getting to know each other. And then on Saturday, we we had the final competition. We had three 40-minute races, and so yeah, ended up getting P4 on that. My former teammate Racine, who also won a Big C's championship, he ended up winning that. So congrats to him. And yeah, man, that was a super fun weekend. And yeah, to come home with like no practice and just kind of felt more at home again with the MX-5. It's definitely one of my favorite cars. So that was just it was a crazy weekend. I'm glad to be back, but it was also a ton of fun in Toronto. And yeah, we should do that again sometime soon. Great meeting you, Justin, and Arrow, and everybody. Man, yeah, that was just a absolutely crazy busy weekend. So yeah, this is a great way to cap it off.
Who do you want to thank for the run today?
I'd just like to thank you, everybody at GSRC, for putting these shows on. I'm sure it was pretty fun watch there. I hope we put on a good show for you guys and everybody watching. Cam for hosting the series. All the series sponsors make this thing possible. Man, all my fellow competitors. That was a hard fought race, and it was a really clean one too. So yeah, great job by everybody. And yeah, hopefully see you guys next week.
Congratulations once again, Brandon, on the victory.
Thanks, guys.
Once again, Brandon Hawken, your winner today. And a good point to bring up is the sponsors. This is, of course, the Minus 273 post-race show. Whether it's on the real track or the virtual track, Minus 273 has one goal in mind: to produce the best racing gloves to get the job done. With unmatched comfort, durability, and style, their gloves will leave your old ones in the dust. Find out how they can help you by visiting minus273.biz. The excitement level is high, let's put it that way when it comes to that, Mark, but it was a dramatic finish again for Cam Evan. He's with Michael.
So, Cam, let's not focus too much on the end of the race just yet. I got to say, I am envious of you and that brilliant start. A little bit bogged down, but then you were able to really push up there inside of Bristow on the launch into turn one. Did that go exactly as the script in your head for the beginning of the race was going to be?
Well, it didn't really matter exactly where I was in the lead pack. I just knew I wanted to be behind Pablo and just fuel save in order to get the shorter pit stop. But yeah, I just got a good launch there, and with the clutch dump, I was able to get up his inside, and P2 was fine with me. And at that point, I was just riding, and as you guys saw, I got a little feisty at the beginning, but we sorted it out, and it was a very good start for sure.
Yeah, excellent start. Like I said, envious of how well you started. I'm a rolling start guy personally, and whenever I have to do those standing starts, I kind of dread it. But brilliant job on that. Now, let's go back onto the middle part of the race as things were kind of shaken out going through the pit stops. Were things starting to unroll in the way you were expecting there, or were you in the right position? Were you afraid that Espez was getting a little bit too far out? I think he was out about 4 seconds in front of Hawken at one point.
Yeah, that was a crazy pit stop from Pablo. I was feeling comfortable because I pitted a little bit early with Daniel, and then we came out, and then a lap later, most of the other leaders came out. So we were all together. So I was thinking my strategy is on point. And we got a little racy, which I didn't think was the best. But then Pablo came out, and he was like, yeah, like you said, 4, maybe 5 seconds ahead. And at that point, I was just absolutely baffled. So we worked together, and we were able to close the time. Big shout out to Brandon on that chase down effort. That was unbelievable speed that he had, and just brought us all the way back up to Pablo. That was so much fun.
Yeah, just being able to get back into that draft train where you guys had your little pack trying to catch up to him. It looked like there was a little bit of a frenemy situation going on there where, okay, I'm going to work with you now, but you just wait till the end. Is that kind of what was happening through that?
Yeah, for sure. We were just trying to make sure that we could catch up to Pablo, but as you saw, once we got there, then it was all hands on deck. The gloves came off, and that was just an amazing finish.
So any commentary you want to give on Sunset Bend on that last lap?
I mean, that whole last lap was just super hectic. I can't even be mad about that finish there. I was pretty sure I had one of the best lines just to set up for a big crossover, but then Pablo came way off the outside and then cut down in front, and I don't know, we just made some contact after that, and he went around, but I can't be mad about that at all. That was just such a great race. Like, I love having races like this in this series, and that these finishes can happen. And everyone keeps it together, just textbook racing, and I can't be mad about that finish. That's just one of the ways it goes when everyone's fighting for it, and there's a turn like that where there's a lot of different lines you can take. Pablo just had the big arc diamond on the exit, and I was just kind of coming on the inside, and it got a little hectic, but it was fun regardless.
Yeah, I think I commented during the race, during that portion, where that's exactly where I would have set up where Pablo was. And then you had my second favorite line at that exact position, where exactly where I want to be. And honestly, if that was not a sim race, if that was a real life race, you guys would have just bumped bumpers a little bit and had a beautiful drag race to the end. But a nice run, excellent racing all the way through. It was a joy to watch.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anybody you want to thank?
First and foremost, Delta Sport, my team, for helping me out, as well as GSRC for the great broadcast, keeping the coverage on point. The series sponsors, Butt Kicker, -273, SHH Shifter, for providing support and getting these broadcasts shown. And I think that's about it. Just all the drivers for racing. It's been a great season so far.
Well, thank you, Cam. Appreciate it. Love the series. Enjoy watching you guys. Let's toss it back to Justin.
Thank you very much, Michael. And it was a thrower, to say the very least. And I'm curious on your thoughts on how things broke down there, because you talked about it a bit with how some of the things could have played out differently depending on how things were in the final corner. But the whole setup of all that was absolutely bananas, to where you had two drivers run out of fuel essentially in the span of about half a lap. Then you have that several major sends and several defensive moves to set things on up for that final run.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy, and I think that's why this is the least favorite or favorite least favorite. I don't know how to word it right. I love the track and I hate the track at the same time, because there are so many ways you can attack turn 1 and turn 17. Just so many different opportunities to set yourself up. Either you're going for the run to the straight, the run to the start finish, you're trying to defend, you're trying to get down to turn 3 first. There's so many different ways to do this that you kind of get stuck in your own head when you're running up and you're, okay, well, where's he going to go? Where's this guy going to go? I have so many ways to go through turn 17 that every single time it's you go through basically War and Peace in your head to try to figure out which version am I going to try to run this time.
And we've seen all that come into play, and now 3 rounds in, 3 different winners as a result of today's finish. With that, we'd like to thank you for tuning into tonight's action from Sebring. We'd also like to thank our sponsors for this series, SHH Shifter, Butt Kicker, and -273. We'd also like to thank the companies who provide the software and hardware for our broadcast, listed up on screen now, with additional thanks to Jude Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks as well to the team today, and Michael, Ryan, and Dougie. Find out more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on screen. Also, be sure to be able to check out simracingmerch.com/GSRC for our merchandise, as we keep a link in the description to the YouTube version of these broadcasts below. Don't forget to also subscribe to the YouTube channel, as well as hit the notification bell so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next time out, when it comes to the Big C's MX-5 Challenge, they are off to Canada. It's Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Coverage takes place November 28th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for what's expected to be an intriguing race with its drafting section down the back, but also its very tight run through towards Sector 2. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on screen, so be sure to check those out and mark them down your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.
Racing.